Hello, this is Alice Wheaton, and this is going to be probably the shortest of the webinars. But having said that, I've made a decision to provide a bonus webinar called, so it'll be 13 webinars instead of 12, all about what it takes to become a big game hunter and closer. And so this one is about reframing. It's about looking at our life and situations, how to not be co-opted by difficult situations, I guess. And I am a master at reframing, and the reason is that I have so little tolerance for feeling anything other than productive. Some people might call me a workaholic. I don't think so, but I like to find solutions where none existed before. And if I can't reframe, then I'm unable to find those solutions. So, it's not just human beings that can change their mind. It's really, animals do that too. I've just adopted a little puppy recently. His name is Taxi, and he's a Staffordshire Terrier. And Staffordshire Terriers is what I understand people breed with bull mastiffs to create pit bulls. But still, he's part of the bully breed, and it's really, really interesting to see him from puppyhood becoming an adolescent and growing into adulthood. He's at the current stage where he hunts down shoes and books to chew. He doesn't chew, he just sucks on them or something. Anyway, it used to be that he was oblivious to his mistakes, but now I walk through the door, and if I can see him on the couch, and if he's not running towards me, I know that there's something that's been chewed. So he's becoming aware of himself and becoming willing, I think, to change his mind. Now, I never smack my dogs or beat them or anything like that, but I say, did you do this? Did you do this? And I could be saying, you're the sweetest boy in the world, but if I said it with a stern tone, then you know something happened. And so it's yes, people have a much greater capacity for rational thought. And sadly, we don't use it as much as we should. And in that way, when we don't, we're, like having the capacity and not using it is somewhat the same as not having the capacity at all. So you see the word info there. It's in a very plain frame. And so now you've got info in a much more elaborate frame. And that's what reframing is. Reframing is taking the current situation you're experiencing, the current problem, the current stressor, for instance, and reframing it. And you might even have something good that you just want to get better. But when you reframe something, then it makes it bearable. A few months ago, I was diagnosed with cancer in my right eye. And my reframe of that was, the thing is that I'm a first world woman. I will get first-class care. It is 99% curable. And there are millions of women in the world that have life tougher than I do because, for instance, in Sierra Leone right now, there are mothers who will lose all of their children in the next coming weeks to a virus. That, for me, is a reframe. And so once I position it that way, then I don't have the stress that I would have had before. Last year I was renovating, and I was complaining one day to my partner about someone that was taking too long to get something done. And then it occurred to me that I had a first world woman problem. And the first world woman problem is that I have a beautiful home, and I was making it more beautiful as compared to some people in the world that have no homes to live in. And so that's a reframe for me. And is it Pollyanna? No, it's not Pollyanna. It's practical. It makes life more bearable. It makes life more productive when we move ourselves out of a quagmire of despair into a reframe of something else. And that's not to say there is no compassion for where I am or have been, or you are or have been. It's not to say that at all. But it is an opportunity to move out of the quagmire and into something more productive. It throws a switch. I love that. It throws the switch to a more opportunistic mindset. Recently in my community there was a big snowstorm and trees were being snapped, tree branches and so on. And when someone was phoning me, a tenant was phoning me, showing me pictures of the tree on the front lawn of my property there, and I absolutely couldn't care less. It was just tree snapping. In the world around us, that's minimal. That's a minimal problem compared to what the world is. And so therefore I used up no energy. I used up no sadness. I used up no despair. It's like, yep, the tree snapped. And so, and one of the trees that snapped in my backyard was a damson plum, which is not grown in Alberta normally. It was a sapling from my mother's tree that I took 12 years ago before she passed away. But even so, it was incomparable to what somebody else was experiencing in other places of the world. Also, it helps to ask, where's the opportunity in this? So I was fired from my last job. So I'm making this webinar all about me, but of course I don't have your stories to tell, so I have to tell mine. But I was fired from my last job. I was fired because the sales reps weren't making calls to clients that would be good clients, but that were protected. And so I decided to make calls for them, set up appointments for them. They didn't know that was happening until I told them where they needed to be the next day or two. Anyway, that was pretty arrogant on my part, and I was fired. And as I walked away, I made a commitment to myself that I will start a career teaching salespeople how to be good salespeople, how to make those calls, how to engage with complicated conversations with their clients, and so on. So I did not miss a beat. Not because I'm so special, but because I flipped the switch. Where was the opportunity in this? So in real estate, there's three important questions, which are location, location, location. The three most important things in real estate. And I know that for sure because I've bought property in ideal locations and I've prospered, and I've bought properties in not so ideal locations and I nearly went broke over it. So when it comes to the real estate in our mind, the three most important questions we ask ourselves is perspective, perspective, perspective. And when we change the perspective, we are able to change our happiness level. We're able to be in pursuit of happiness if we change our perspective to one that is more a world view versus a front yard and backyard view. That is not to say you should dismiss how you're feeling and what your heart longs for and where your hurt is. But it is to say that we have a lot more control over being happy than we think we do. Thank you for being with us. I look forward to seeing you again. Bye for now.